Plaintiff Scott Peeler says he was discharged from the United States Marine Corps after serving in Iraq. And once he returned home, he became dependent on alcohol. Scott claims he met the defendant when he entered a 12-step program to deal with his addiction. But he's suing him today for utility bills and lost wages. Defendant Joseph Adam admits that he was addicted to heroin and alcohol and says he doesn't know where he would be today if Scott hadn't helped him through that tough time. Joseph is countersuing because he claims Scott falsely accused him of stealing his identity.
Start with you.
Well, Your Honor, a few years ago after I was discharged from the United States Marine Corps after serving in Iraq, I came home and had developed some issues as far as some alcohol dependence and some other issues, and I decided I was going to seek some treatment and started going to a 12-step recovery group where I met the defendant, and we became friends and started to hang out with each other on a regular basis, and almost daily. Neither of us were working at the time. I was off work due to short-term disability, and the defendant wasn't working either. So we were, a support group for each other, basically hung out, kept each other kind of on the straight and narrow path, and, got to be pretty good friends. And, it's a shame it had to turn out badly.
Plaintiff Scott Peeler was friends with the defendant, and they met in a 12-step recovery program where the defendant was struggling with a heroin addiction.
All right, let me hear from you before we get to the utility bills and lost wages.
I met Scott about 2 years ago in a 12-step program. We both had a lot of similarities. In being a drug addict, alcoholic like I was addicted to heroin. It was really tough for me to build relationships and trust people. And so when I came into the rooms and opening up to people, I built a relationship with Scott, and he was a friend. And to be honest with you, I don't know where I'd be today if he wouldn't have been there during that tough time. Because
how did you get hooked on heroin?
Through past experience, prescribed opiate painkillers.
For what?
My nose ran out. I was in a car accident, and later on, I was actually hit by a car at the age of 16, and through lasting problems, I was prescribed even like Vicodin for toothaches and stuff, and that addiction carried on where I was seeking them after that. So it constantly.
All right. So we're not going to blame the toothache.
No, I blame my addiction, my addictive personality.
Okay. And how were you exposed to heroin?
First time was I couldn't find the opiate painkillers on the street, so the person I was getting from said, this is better. And so I tried that, and I honestly fell in love, and I chased it after that for quite a while.
Okay. Where did your addiction come from?
Well, Your Honor,
your experiences in the Marine Corps?
I think those experiences definitely accelerated a already blooming alcohol problem that I had.
You went in with an alcohol problem?
I went in using alcohol and came out abusing alcohol, I believe.
And a lot of soldiers return and they have addictions of that sort, so that's not unusual. You try and kill the pain of what you went through with drugs and alcohol to escape it. Were you able to access, say, outpatient treatment of any type? I know you went to AA, but what about treatment and counseling?
I sought some counseling through the Veterans Center, Your Honor.
Was it accessible to you, open and accessible? You felt comfortable with the services that the country provided you when you returned from service?
Yes, sir. The Veterans Center itself was very accessible and free. And
all right, good. And you're suing the defendant for utility bills and lost wages. How does he owe you?
About November 2012, Your Honor, the defendant let me know that his apartment that he'd moved into, his landlord needed the electric put on in the defendant's name because it was currently under his landlord's name, and I was told that due to a previous relationship he'd had with a young lady he'd cohabitated with, that she'd left him with a large bill in his name, and he could not have it turned on in his name. So I agreed to turn on the electricity in my name with the understanding that it would be paid, and it never was, Your Honor. Also, there was a gas account started. I wasn't aware of that at that time. Also with that account, Your Honor, and there was never a payment.
What do you mean
made.
You weren't aware? You didn't approve, or you didn't go and sign up?
No, Your Honor. Initial sign-up was via telephone call, and I did let the representative know that I'd be turning on electrical services. I wasn't told of any gas services.
So you think he did it behind your back? Is that what you're getting to?
I don't know, Your Honor. I didn't know that residents required gas. Mine doesn't, so I never even thought one way or the
But
other.
this one did, obviously, because you got a gas bill.
In retrospect,
And
yes,
had he
Your
not
Honor.
gotten gas, something wouldn't have worked.
Correct, Your Honor.
All right. And you didn't pay any of this?
No, Your Honor.
You have bills?
I do, Your Honor.
Let me see them, please.
Plaintiff Scott Peeler was friends with the defendant, and they met in a 12-step recovery program where the defendant was struggling with a heroin addiction.
What do you say to this?
He's absolutely correct on the beginning part. I did live with a young woman, and obviously she got kind of upset with me, and she definitely ran up a very high gas and electric bill. So when I did try to put electric in my name, it exceeded almost $1,400, which obviously putting deposit and rent down, I didn't have that kind of money. And Scott definitely was generous enough to put the gas and electric in his name. I didn't know anything about the gas part of me. I used the gas, but I thought it was one and the same, honestly. I didn't know it was separate.
Were you getting a bill?
Absolutely.
Were you getting it from the energy company?
Absolutely. Duke Energy, sir.
All right. Let me hand this to you. It's very prominent. One here, one is gas and one is electric. And you thought they were one and the same.
Well,
those are two different bills with very prominent descriptions of what they are.
no, you're absolutely correct. But in Cincinnati, I mean, and you're absolutely right. It definitely says gas and electric. And but it's
Now you're aware.
Oh, absolutely.
Good enough. Let's see.
Well, I mean,
now he's aware.
I was always aware, but I
You just told me you weren't.
Mate, you're absolutely.
You told me you weren't aware that they were separate. Now you're going back to your drug addict days
Yep.
of lying and deceiving. Number one sign of true recovery is honesty and paying your bills. What are your lost wages for?
My lost wages, Your Honor, were due to the time that I had to. I'm a commissioned salesperson in the automobile industry, and my lost wages were due to the fact that on receiving notification several different times from the power company that I had delinquent bills, I had called Mr. Adams several times and asked him, why were the bills not being paid? I was told at one point that he was making payment, however, it was going to a previous
So what are you
bill.
saying? The phone calls to him caused you to lose wages?
No, Your Honor.
What made you lose
I was
wages?
just beginning.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, sir. Losing the wages were speaking with the fraud department at the power company, dealing with that gentleman, dealing with the police, who I had to file a police report. I had to go down to Hamilton County, which is in another county than mine, to file a report and to file the court papers as well, Your Honor. And also just dealing with this in total, dealing with the power company was hours of on hold.
Now, why did you have to go to the police department?
Well, once I talked to the power company, the fraud department, I asked the gentleman because the gas hasn't been turned on in my name. He said, well, for the power company, it's one and the same. If you authorize one, you authorize the other, whether you say it or not. So I tried through the police department to see if I could get a remedy that way as far as if it was fraudulently the gas, Your Honor.
How much do you make per day?
Well, I'm a commissioned salesperson, Your Honor. On a monthly basis, I make around $11,000 a month.
All right.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, you should be popular with the ladies. That's over $100 grand. A lot of ladies want six-figure guys. And your bill adds up to $700, and you're suing for $2,400, meaning that those hours that you discuss and the one day that you went to the police, you're suggesting cost you what? $1,600? I can't add. $2,400 minus $700.
$1,700.
There you go. You don't even. She didn't even. Yeah, she didn't even need a calculator.
Plaintiff Scott Peeler was friends with the defendant, and they met in a 12-step recovery program where the defendant was struggling with a heroin addiction.
Your counterclaim for slander or defamation is for what?
Well, sir, I mean, like he said, he went to the police and said I committed fraud, that I stole his identity. I work and I'm getting phone calls from a detective while I'm at work saying that I've committed fraud, and I said, this gentleman sat on my couch and ordered it. So then I have to go back to my manager saying that I might have to go to the police station. When I talked to the police officer, he absolutely said that there was too many holes in his story, that he wasn't going to file suit, because I tried to contact him before coming here to get some witness.
Did you ever tell me why you didn't pay all this fraud, all this, that, and the other? Why didn't you pay, sir?
Well, sir,
a dime, not a dime. Why didn't you pay?
Well, honestly, from
yeah,
November.
honestly, this time.
Fair enough. From November until I got my last bill in July, so there were payments made on the account.
Show me evidence of the payments, because he shows me evidence of no payment.
You're absolutely, I have no evidence to back that.
I know you don't. All right, sir, I'll grant you the bill, $757, and $500 worth of lost wages. And how much is that?
$1,257.
$1,257, and you would not have endured any of this had it not been for his lies and deceptions. I usually do not grant lost wages, and they're discretionary, up to the judge. It's usually for malicious prosecution, meaning they did it on purpose with no regard for you. And sir, I'm going to dismiss your claim for $1,000 for defamation because he believed it was fraudulent. And sir, I think you're behaving like a heroin addict. Whether you are or not, you still have heroin ways, and lying, deceiving, failing to pay people who help you out. Judging for the plaintiff, and I hope that you are clean, but you're not acting it. Have a good day.
I mean, everything happened how it was supposed to.
I don't hold any ill will toward Mr. Adam at all. I just wish it hadn't happened, and you know, hopefully nothing like that will happen in the future. So.
Yeah.
Did someone vandalize your car and you don't know what to do about it? If so, go to my website, askjudgemathis.com, and tell me about it.